In this video, I will show how to mass produce these tags using the Hero Arts Hero Studio October 2024 Card Kit of the Month. Even if you don't have the kit, you may have similar items in your stash that you can use to mass produce tags for the holiday season. Hi, this is Anna of Crafty Anna Studio. Welcome back to my channel where I post paper crafting and card making tutorials. Before we get into the tutorial, let's take a quick look at the contents of the kit. Every Hero Arts kit comes with an inspiration card for ideas on how to use the kit for your projects. First up is a 6x8 stamp set that is full of holiday images in simple frame designs, as well as lots of holiday sentiments. Each image and sentiment comes with coordinating frame cuts. There is also a fancy die that cuts out a tree and is also coordinating with a tree image in the stamp set. This month's kit also comes with a 6x6 Holiday Treats word cling stamp, as well as a washi sticker pack containing 22 pieces of washi images, like poinsettias, botanicals, pine cones, gingerbread houses, gingerbread men, and holly leaves, as well as 6x6 washi sheets of a gingerbread house, a log, and some pine needles, and a sheet of botanicals. It also contains 2 containers of gold and white embossing powder, as well as an ink cube of embossing and watermark ink, as well as a small pack of peppermint clay embellishments. You'll also get 5 sheets each of 8.5 by 5.5 red, white, and craft cardstock. The first step to mass producing these tags is to create a template. I have here a piece of copy paper sized 8.5 by 5.5, and I put it on my stamping platform. Next, I will lay out all my stamps and sentiments and leave ample space in between. I added sentiments as fillers so that I can use them later on for some cards. I closed the door of my stamping platform to pick up the stamps. Then I will ink them up with black ink and stamp it down on the copy paper. I am not too concerned about how well the images are stamped because this is just a template. Off camera, I've laid out all the coordinating dies on the image. And then I'm going to take some washi tape and I'm going to stick them on the corners just to make sure they don't move. Then, once they're all stuck down, I'm going to take more washi tape and I'm going to make sure I connect all the dies together. This size of washi tape is just perfect because I don't want to cover the images. This will become important in aligning the dies later on. I avoid putting washi tapes on the sides because this will allow me for better alignment. Next, I carefully remove the dies from the copy paper sheet. Now that it's completely removed and very stable, I'm going to set this aside while I stamp out the images on the cardstock. I will take one of the white cardstock panels from the kit and put it down on my stamping platform. Then I'll take some of the Hero Arts Intensified Black ink and I'm going to stamp out all the images on the white cardstock. After inking it up very well, I will press it down onto the cardstock and I will make sure that I get a good impression. It actually stamped out pretty well, but I decided to do one more round just to make sure the images are nice and crisp. Then I will take all the dies that I had put together, lay it down onto the cardstock, and here you can see it's actually quite easy to align. And then I'll take it to my die cutting machine to die cut them out. I will slowly pop them out of the die. So this is the Christmas tree, then this is the candy canes, cookies, and then peace on earth sentiment. Then we have the poinsettia, happy holidays, mistletoe, wreath, the gingerbread man, the gifts, just being very careful. And then we have the Merry Christmas and the Peace on, oh, 'tis the season sentiments. I'll take the red cardstock, but this time I'm going to heat emboss it with gold embossing powder. So I have to prep my cardstock with an anti-static powder. Take some Versamark ink and I'm going to ink up my stamp. Now you can use the mini ink cube in the set. It's just that this is a very big area of stamping, so I decided to use my Versamark ink just to make sure that I get good coverage. So I stamp it down and then I give it a good press. And you can see that some of the black ink had transferred onto the cardstock, but that's fine because that will be covered with a gold embossing powder. After stamping it down the second time, I'm going to take some of the gold embossing powder and sprinkle it generously first on one half of the cardstock. Tap it a couple of times at the back to remove some excess powder. Then move it to the other side and sprinkle it once again. Tap it once again. Make sure there are no excess powder sticking to the sides. And then I take my heat tool and I start heating it up from the back, moving to the front. I alternate heating it at the back and at the front to avoid warping the paper. Doing this really helps in keeping the cardstock nice and flat. Next, I will stamp the images on the craft cardstock, but this time I'm going to use the white embossing powder. I really love the effect of white embossing powder on craft cardstock. So I'm going to sprinkle the white embossing powder generously on half of the cardstock, tap off the excess, turn it around to the other half, sprinkle, tap off the excess, and then heat set it. After heat embossing, I will take the dies and align them on the images. Because of the washi tape holding all the dies together, this is surprisingly easy to align. Take it to my die cutting machine and die cut it off camera. And here I am popping out all the images from the dies. Then I'll do the same for the red one. I made all these tags in one afternoon crafting session, and it was actually quite easy to do once I got the hang of heat embossing and die cutting them out. And now I have all of these images to use on my tags. Off camera, I've die cut and assembled and colored all of my tags that I had stamped out on the white cardstock. I'm not sure if it's showing through in the video, but I used a light gray ink to stamp the background using the cling stamp in the kit. So now I'm going to show how I created these tags using the red and the craft cardstock. I'm going to use the Tags Infinity die set and the Arches Infinity die set to create the tags. I'm going to lay out these dies on the cardstock panel to maximize the space that I have. So I take the largest of the tag dies, the second largest, and the third, and I'm going to lay them out so that they all fit in this 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock. Then I'm taking one of the infinity dies and then adding it to make 4 tags. I had already pre-selected these dies because they best fit the images from the stamp set. And just as I did with the stamps, I'm going to connect them all together using washi tape. Then I will take it to my die cutting machine off camera and die cut it out. I'll carefully pop them out of the dies and just make sure that the dies stay connected. Then I will take it to the red cardstock panel, tape it down, just like I did previously, and then die cut it off camera. I will not throw away the offcuts because I will use them to die cut the tabs that will go on top of the holes of the tags. The Infinity Tag die set has these little tabs. It's actually decorative and it goes on top of the holes. This is entirely optional, but I thought it would give the tags a nice finish. Here I'm using the Hero Arts compact cutter to die cut them out. Before I assemble the tags, I'm going to stamp out the background using the cling stamp that's in the kit. I'm going to lay the cling stamp face up on my crafting mat. For the craft cardstock, I'm going to use Versamark ink and I'm going to ink it generously. Then I'm going to take the biggest tag and I'm going to gently put it down, starting at the bottom, aligning the bottom, making sure it's straight before putting it down completely. Then I will rub the surface to make sure that the ink adheres. And you can see here it has a very nice watermark image. Then I will do the rest of the tags. I'll ink it up, make sure it's aligned before placing it down. I'm going to speed this up a little, and of course, I'm inking up the stamp before placing down the tags. After inking up the craft tags, I'm going to wipe down the cling stamp, and for the red tags, I'm going to use the Hero Hues Core Ink in Cherry. I'm going to ink it up generously and then lay the tags down, making sure that the words are aligned. Looking back now, I wish I had used a darker red because I thought that this would show through, but once it dried, it actually dried down very light. But it's okay, you can still see it in real life. Now it's time to lay out all the images. You can see that the Christmas tree, which is the biggest image in the stamp set, goes on the biggest tag. And then I made sure that everything else fit on the other size tags. I'm going to heat emboss to and from and using white on the red and gold on the craft. Spoiler alert, the gold didn't actually work out, but you'll see how I remedied that later on. First, I will prep the tag with anti-static powder. Then place the image temporarily on top as a placeholder. Then I'll ink up the to and from stamp with Versamark ink. The to and from stamp is from the stamp set, and I mounted them on an acrylic block. I'll stamp it carefully, then sprinkle it with white embossing powder, tap off the excess, and then set it aside while I stamp the rest. I will stamp all the tags first with Versamark ink and then heat emboss it all at the same time. For the biggest tag, since the image is taking up most of the space in front, I will stamp the to and from at the back. I will place the wreath image at the top as a placeholder, then I will rearrange the to and from stamp to create a bigger gap between them. This will make it look more proportionate to the size of the tag. Remember, I mentioned earlier that the gold embossing didn't work out? Well, the gold did not show up well on the craft cardstock, so I will fix that. I will use black pigment ink to stamp on top of the gold embossing. It's not ideal, but it did make it look better. Now I almost have everything ready for assembly. I'll be doing this assembly line style. I also added foam tape at the back of each image for dimension. But before I start, I'm going to punch out holes on the art shaped tags. I will remove the release paper from the foam tape at the back of each image and stick them down on the tag. Even if you don't have this kit, you may have similar stamps with coordinating dies to create these tags. You can also use floral stamps and create allocation tags. You don't even need tag dies, as you can use any shape die that would be best fitted for the images you choose. Oh, and if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of my videos. Next, I will add the tabs to the holes at the top of each tag. This is entirely optional, but I like that it gives the tag a more polished look. I will add liquid glue around each of the holes, front and back, and then add the tabs. Press it between my fingers for a couple of seconds to dry. For the arch tags, I will use a different tab. I'll add liquid glue and then lay the tab on top and do the same for the back. I call them tabs, but I'm not really sure if that's the right name. If you know what they are called, please let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, I'd also like to know if you mass produce tags or cards for the holiday season. And if you do, please let me know if you have any tips or tricks for mass producing. I will use red and white baker's twine for the tags. I will measure out approximately 8 inches and then loop them 8 times, and then with my scissors, I'll cut off each loop. To add it to the tag, I will fold it in half, then pass the looped end through the hole in the tag. Then insert the other end through the loop, and voila. If you're interested in this kit, I will have the links in the video description below. I will also have the links in my coordinating blog post, which is also linked below. Here is one final look of the 12 tags that I made using the Hero Arts Hero Studio October 2024 card kit of the month. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful and crafty day. Till next time, bye!